Good morning. Well, decided to come out to the farm today. Figured I was going to do some long range shooting. Haven't done it in a long time, but it's a little too windy for me to get back into trying something. Not to mention the fact that apparently my shooting box is buried in grass and I didn't really feel like getting a bush hog out to clean it all up. So we're out here with the Mossberg MVP and 5.56. I have a millet scope, which is no longer made apparently, nor is the gun. They do have MVPs available, but not in the varmint arrangement. The MVP does have a magazine on it that is compatible with all AR platforms, so you can use any AR magazine in the 5.56. They had it available in 308 at one point in time and 204, I believe, maybe even 250. Not sure what's available out there. Been out of the gun world for a little while, just trying to get back into it. So here we are laying on the back of a flatbed in the middle of a field. My rangefinder says at the barrel of the gun, we're shooting about 132 yards. Shooting at a 6-inch plate, so let's see what happens. So first one, dead ringer, 132. This gun has been sighted in to 200 yards before, or at least we've been able to get out that far at a padlock. But that was right after I got the gun and got the two combinations of the gun and the scope together. After that, all it's been used for is a couple coyotes here at the farm. Most of that's been offhand shooting, of course, off the back porch. I have not got anything past 200 yards shot. So I've always wanted to get out farther than that, but I've never had an area to do it. Locally, there aren't very many ranges, even within an hour's drive, that'll get you past 200 yards. Most of them, even at 200 yards, all you get is cast iron plates, steel plates. There isn't much arrangement for actually doing long range target shooting, just plinking. So hitting a padlock at 200 yards, I figure I can probably get out a little bit farther, but have never had the ability to do it. So this is as far as it's ever made it. 200 yards is, and that wasn't even my best day. I'm not very good at a shot at that distance, a little too shaky. My brother was the one who was reliably hitting the 200-yard shot on this rifle. These are somewhat custom loads. I do reload. These are Full Metal Jacket loads. They are running BLC 2. If I remember correctly, these were loaded at 25.5 grains of BLC 2. Don't remember the overall length on them, but they, without fine-tuning it any farther than that, was a nice round number. I decided to stop there because we were hitting 200 yards easily. So decided to stop there, and this is the loads that I've been working with. I do make these for the soft points as well, the exact same recipe for varmint soft point loads as well. Both have proven to be very accurate. Not much more fine tuning went into it than that. So here we are on the second shot. I'm shooting at a 6-inch steel plate. I have painted white. I doubt you're going to be able to hear it. It is not very loud because I had to kind of screw it into my shooting wrench just to get to stay up there. I didn't have any chains or the bolts to get it to stay up there. It's going to take more work to get it all set back up. I have no idea where the rest of my parts went. And at 132 yards per the rangefinder, this is still coming out to be really, really accurate. Accurate enough that I may actually have to move my truck because that's 3 in a row that have hit the plate. I can see the marks on the plate because it's painted white, and they all seem to be about center mass. So hopefully I can move this truck forward enough up the hill, kind of down the hill actually, that I don't lose my ability to see over the hill that I'm sitting on. So let's try that and see what happens. All right, so got done moving the truck. And of course the batteries in my rangefinder died, so I had to get batteries. So we're back. Now we're at 155 yards. I'm not sure how much farther I can go because I can barely see over the hill right now to get to my plate. So let's try this and see what happens. I think we got 2 left. Also got a little bit of a breeze. Seems like it's coming maybe from the east here a little bit. It's so windy up at this farm. It always has been. It's one reason why I've not really got into long range shooting here, even though I've wanted to. It is never a calm day. So trying to figure out if you're any good at it or practice with a 10-mile-an-hour breeze just isn't going to work. Here we go. That was a good one. Try number 2. And we'll have to do some reloading. That might have been a clip. I barely see it moving. It might have been a clip. That one I didn't feel great with when I pulled the trigger anyhow. So let's try zooming in here a little bit. I think we're currently working on 4 power. This millet scope is a 4 to 16. At 16, it starts getting just a little bit fuzzy. It said they no longer make either one of these, the scope or the rifle, at least not in the rifle, not in this variation. The millet got bought out by Bushnell, I believe it was. I was looking to probably buy another one for a 17 HMR that I've got because I really do like the scope. It adjusted well, sits well, looks good. Lockable knobs, illuminated reticle. I really did like this scope, but like I said, they no longer make this. So it's off to find another one for the HMR. It would help if you put another round in the chamber. That was a good hit. Getting harder and harder to hear that ring from all the way back here. Really wish it would have been louder. All I can see is it moving. I can't even tell if it's really that great of a hit. So let's try again. This time, let's see if I can identify. Oh, that plate's not wide enough. I can't see them. Oh well. Also think that this scope may need to be shifted for doing some prone work like this. I think I'm hearing my flatbed on my truck ring more than I'm hearing the plate. And I can't even tell if I hit the plate on that one. Which would be me, because at 132 yards versus 155, I really don't believe that the distance is going to be the problem. However, we will raise just a touch off of my center mass line and see what happens. Well, that was a pretty good hit. Let's see what happens when we verify that. All we did was hold a tiny bit higher, and I leaned in just a little bit more to this bipod. No, it's a little sloppy, but now that was a really good ring. The other ones must have been clipping, or that one just sounded really good because of the wind. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It would have been a kill. Just to see if we can repeat that. Maybe this time. We'll see. And that was another ringer. So it sounds like we may have to make a minor adjustment here. That, or if I'm getting a southerly wind, a little bit more southerly than I think, that could be shifting me just a little bit. I don't think at a 6-inch plate at 155 yards that that little bit that I'm having to come up is going to change anything as far as the accuracy of actual varmint in the size that I would use. We don't have prairie dogs here in Ohio. Most of what I've been shooting is either coyotes at longer ranges or muskrats in a pond, which typically that ranges at about 100 yards, and it would see that 132 a dead hold on center is more than enough, which I've shot multiple muskrats with this rifle and at much closer ranges than that. Not exactly sure why I was able to get within 30 yards of a muskrat sitting on the ice, but I was, and they both went flying when they got hit. So obviously we've got a really good round going on. I would like to try to go even farther out. However, I don't know if I have enough height to get over this hill. That's probably going to be a no. So maybe we're just going to go down real quick and we're going to look and see maybe where these are going and what they're hitting. And then I will show you what I've got working on down here. All right, down here at the plinking plate, not too bad at all. The groupings are a little wide, but on a 6-inch plate at 150 yards, again, that's definitely going to take care of a coyote. And that should be more than enough for what I need to do. So you can see the plinking plate, not too bad for size reference, for just comparison. Not too bad of a grouping. Definitely see one of them a little bit higher than what it needs to be, but most of them look like they're hitting just about center mass. So as I'm walking back up towards my truck so that I can pull off a couple more rounds, you'll notice my shooting box looks a little sketchy. That is actually an old propane fireplace that I threw down on the wood line so that I can hang some targets in it, put a piece of plywood up on there. And years ago I had that set up so that I could do just that. I actually had a piece of plywood hanging on the inside of the box to be able to staple targets to. But after doing that probably, I don't know, 7 years ago, Mother Nature decided that the plywood was just not going to work there no more. So the plywood's gone. I really have bought some paper down here, but like I said, it's a little breezy up here. The windmill over by the pond shows that we pretty much got a south wind here, which is not terrible today. Trees are still blocking some of it, but the 17 that I also brought, the scope has been removed on it at one point in time. So I'm not sure if it got set back on there correctly. I just don't trust its true zero. And every time I've ever shot the 17, the lightest wind gust can change that, which when buying it, I knew was going to be a problem. I bought that many, many years ago. And since then, it's been shot quite a few times. Most of them have been arranged in a range, in a closed situation, not nearly as windy, kind of in a valley. Brought it here to try to shoot some of the muskrats, tried to sight it in. It's just too windy up here. The wind changes directions all across the property. it's just really not a safe or a great choice for most of the shooting that I do here, and at the distances it just gets to be a little too far. It is accurate though, I will say that. 17 has proven to be one of the more accurate rounds I've ever shot as far as a rim fire. Yeah, 22s, 22 mags, they are accurate as well, but at closer range, the 17 is definitely one of the flatter shooting trajectories that I've had. So here's a shot of what I'm setting up as. This is the Mossberg MVP and 5.56 with a 10 round mag, millet scope. If memory serves, it's a 4/1650 scope. The flip up cap on it was from the factory. I do not remember what rings I have on it. I believe they are also millet, but I don't remember what height. Oh well. Anyhow, we're just running a Caldwell flip up bipod. It is a sling mount bipod. That's the only thing that's available on the gun because it is the laminate stock. I also use that one on the 17 because it too only has sling mount. Really wish it didn't, but here we are. All right, we're back up on the truck. We're gonna see if we can't sling a couple more down there and make a couple marks on that plate, and then maybe we're gonna see if we can't get the 17 out and see if I can get anywhere close to it. They're small enough, probably won't even hear them. Well, or we'll just start dropping them in by hand. That was a hit. I didn't like it. It didn't ring hard enough. That was a good ring. Definitely heard that one from here. The only thing that's been modified on the rifle is I did bed it in a little better. From the factory, the stock was actually pushing on the barrel right at the end of the forestock. So I was able to use a piece of sandpaper and actually a 12 gauge shotgun shell, wrap the paper around the shotgun shell, and just kept going until there was enough clearance to get, I think it was a Post-it note or a piece of paper underneath it. That's not a real great gap, but it's a gap. Before, when you would tighten the screws down, you could actually feel where it was getting tighter against it. After that, it was a nice snug fit. And then I did lap in the lugs on the bolt. Those are the only two modifications that have been done. I'm not sure those really got me a whole lot, but every little bit helps. And if that has if that attributes at all to the 150 that I'm doing right now, well, I'll take it. That was another nice clean hit ring too. This gun was not advertised to be as accurate as I have found it to be, which is a nice surprise for anybody grabbing a gun out of the box. Another nice ring. Seems as though this is still a great combination right here. The sad thing is, not being at the farm much anymore, I really have no desire, no need. We all have the desire to shoot, huh? Really don't have the need to have something that reaches out this far. That doesn't mean it's not fun. Another nice ring. I think my time here with this may be over. So let's switch over. I'm gonna grab a 17 out, and we're gonna see if it'll still hit a plate. Okay, here we are with the Savage 93 F17. This is the bull barrel model. I don't know what the original designation on that was, whether it was a FV, FVSS, or whatever. I don't remember which one. But it does have the heavy barrel on it. It is the polymer stock, synthetic stock. I do have a cheek riser on it. It is just a neoprene one with foam pads underneath. I did not like the way the butt of this stock tapered down. It tapered down way too far for a scope like this. You had to keep your cheek way up off the back of the buttstock. So it's just cheap slide-on neoprene sleeve. I do have a couple pads in it. Not terrible. It fixed a problem. So we have on top BSA optics. This is a 624 32 40 I think it's 40. Not really crazy about it. Cheaper rifle. Got an equally matched scope. Really wish I had probably upgraded. Did not realize how accurate and good the 17 round was, and after that determined I probably should have paid a little more for a scope. But nonetheless, it works. Up to about 16 power. Past that, ain't worth it. Can't see nothing. Eye relief goes away. Field of view pretty much gone. Fuzzy. It's a great kid's gun, but it was a newer round, and I decided I wanted to see what happened with it. It is definitely fun for plinking and a lot of short range or long range, but a lot of short range stuff with a scope like this on it anyway. So let's see what happens at this distance with a untested sighting. Well, I hit something. Who knows what though. Trying to keep as much of these this brass out of the field. This is a hay field. Don't like to have a whole lot of brass in there for horses and cattle to eat. No idea if I'm hitting anything. Not even sure if I'm hitting the box. So we might have to either move in a little closer or call it a day on this one. There's not much of a backstop back there. It is all kinds of woods. The neighbor's way out of the way, but doesn't mean I like shooting into the middle of nowhere. We'll give her one more. Let's see what happens. And that didn't prove to be any better than the first two. So, this ain't shaping up real well. Maybe we're shooting flatter than we think. So let's try dead center, but at the bottom of the plate. And that didn't tell me nothing either. So, let's try to the right. Why not? Why not? We're gonna go bottom of the plate, put it on the left side of the vertical, and see what happens. That didn't exactly tell me nothing either. So, it appears as though we may actually have to get some paper out and walk this backwards. You got to have more than 5 in it to shoot more than 5. But we might just have to call it quits on that, because if we ain't hitting nothing, we're just spraying them. Doesn't seem like a lot of fun. At least not unless you're going to get the paper out and it's too windy for paper. So I'm going to wrap this up, and we're going to maybe try to do some offhand a little bit closer and see exactly what's going on. But without paper, I still can't exactly tell what's going on. So I'm going to walk down there and probably do some offhand, but I think I'm going to call it a day on trying to do anything long range. All right, welcome back from the plinking plate. Might have hit it once, not really sure. Took a couple rounds down there with me and did something really close just to see what kind of mark we were looking at and if it actually rang when I hit it. And the 17 still impresses. It rings pretty loud, so clearly I was missing it, and it still moves the plate quite a bit. So it looks like we're gonna have to get someplace with calm wind, nice table, and some paper to shoot at. Otherwise, this gun's pretty much useless for the moment. So we're gonna wrap this up, put all my stuff away. I do have to mow some grass here at the farm, and we may drop this off at the brother's house and either let him play with it, or it'll be over there so that next time we go, I can grab it and we can go to the gun range. So till next time, keep shooting.